Hello everyone, welcome to this video, and today I'm going to be giving my thoughts about the idea of having a reverse grid sprint race. Earlier today, it was reported that Formula One were proposing the idea of trying out a reverse grid sprint race qualifying format that would determine the order for the main race, and they're thinking of obviously trying out this idea in the first race of the season in Austria. So how this would work is that we would have a shorter sprint race that would basically replace qualifying, and the results of this sprint race would determine the order of the grid rather than having a qualifying session and seeing who can set the fastest lap. And the grid order for this mini race would basically be in reverse championship order. So for example, if we did this in 2019, it would be George Russell starting on pole for that race and Lewis Hamilton would be starting at the back. So basically all of the front running cars would try to make their way up to the top. A lot of overtaking would happen. It would be quite a crazy race, and the result of that race is what the grid order would be for the main race. Personally, I don't like this idea. I don't think it's the right thing to do to replace qualifying. And obviously in this video, I'm going to talk about the reasons why I think this. But before we get into that, I just want to say that, to be honest, I don't mind if they try out having this sprint race instead of qualifying, because there's two races happening at Austria back to back. So, I mean, why not experiment, especially because the 2020 season is already so messed up to begin with. So now is a time to try out some new things. But yeah, with that out of the way, basically, I don't mind them trying this out for one race and seeing how it goes. But ultimately, I don't think this is a very good idea to do this. And yeah, I'm going to tell you why in this video. So the first reason why I'm against this idea is that there are much better ways that Formula One can improve the excitement of the sport. I don't think that, changing around qualifying is the right way to go. They've tried to do this before with that horrendous elimination qualifying format. I don't know why Formula One is so obsessed with trying to touch qualifying. I really don't think that is the main thing they should be focusing on. There are many more fundamental issues with the F1 that are affecting the excitement, namely the aero issues, which the cars aren't able to follow, which decreases overtaking. We're hoping that the new regulations can address that. If they want to bring the field together and mix things up, then that is obviously the purpose of the budget cap, which is going to be implemented in the next few years. And also, they should probably do something about the tire compounds. Like, personally, I don't think the one stop is good for F1. Going slower is essentially going faster. Basically, the changing qualifying should be something on the bottom of their list of priorities in terms of increasing the excitement in Formula One. There are so many other more important issues that they should address. I think the current qualifying format is fine. There's really nothing wrong with it, but the cars being affected so badly by the aero wash, the one stop being so prevalent in Formula One these days, those are much bigger issues that really should be addressed before you even think about changing up qualifying, which, there really isn't anything wrong with it anyways. The second reason why I don't think this is a good idea is that Formula One is a sport, not a show. And when I say this, I'm not necessarily saying that Formula One shouldn't be exciting. Like I said earlier, there are so many ways other than changing up qualifying that they can do to spice up the sport and increase the excitement. However, I'm completely against anything randomizing it or making it more artificial. And a reverse grid qualifying race is just one of them. I think that Formula One is a sport where the best people should win. The best people deserve to win. The people who make the best technological advancements, the best drivers, the people who are willing to take the most risk, the best teams, those are the people who should win. And you should not be punished for your success. Like I said, the people with the most money shouldn't necessarily win, but the best people should win. So, if you're doing well in the championship, you should be rewarded by starting at the front. You shouldn't be penalized for that. Maybe there's other motorsports that are obviously exciting for it, but there's a reason why Formula One is the pinnacle of engineering, the pinnacle of drivers, and, this just completely goes against all of that. The next reason why I'm against this, and Formula One generally it's not a good idea for them, is that it's going to raise costs. Okay, so again, one of the main reasons, big problems with Formula One is obviously costs. Costs are extremely high, and this will obviously make it less attractive for new teams to enter. Having an additional race, especially with the grid so out of order, it's just going to increase the amount of incidents massively, and this will just increase the need for more parts, which is just going to increase costs in turn. So again, if they want to reduce costs, then this again is definitely not the way to go. So the fourth and perhaps strongest argument against the idea of a reverse grid sprint race is the fact that we would lose qualifying. And first of all, it just removes a layer of depth to Formula One. We would lose, being fast over one lap. It won't really matter anymore because, there won't be any qualifying sessions, basically. If you're Lance Stroll, you're probably happy because your main weakness doesn't really matter anymore. But being fast over one lap, it just won't matter. It'll just take away a layer of depth. You only have to be good in the races. And, think about all of the iconic pole laps we had, all of the amazing pole laps, Lewis Hamilton at Singapore, just that absolutely blistering lap. We won't see any of that anymore. I mean, think about it. Formula One cars on the limit. Where else do we see that? The fastest cars in the world, like driven by the fastest drivers on the limit, zero mistakes. We won't get any more of that. Instead, we'll get an incident, drama-packed sort of artificial action feature race, but I would much rather see qualifying, especially on circuits like Monaco, where it is just amazing to see the cars on light fuel going as fast as they can, no mistakes, high pressure, high stakes. I mean, I just love that stuff, and I would definitely rather have that than any sort of feature race, no matter what, no matter how crazy it is, to be honest. So yeah, guys, those are my thoughts on this whole situation. But yeah, before you go, I just want to leave you with this clip of Lewis Hamilton, Sebastian Vettel, and Charles Leclerc giving their thoughts on this qualifying format.
Thoughts, please, on any discussion that people talk about a reverse grid.
Well, Charles, you be at the back.
I will not be happy. I'm a lot happier to start first tomorrow, but I don't think it's the solution for Formula One. I think the best should win and start in the best place, and not reversing that order. So I don't think it's the solution.
Lewis, reverse grids.
I don't really know what to say to it. The people that propose that don't really know what they're talking about. So.
What did you say? What did you say? Well, I think it's complete bullshit, to be honest.
That's exactly what I said.
Did you say that?
That's kind of what he said.
Yeah, I think we have. I think we know what's probably, if you want to improve things, I think it's very clear. We need to string the field more together. We need to, have better racing. So it's just a plaster. I don't know which genius came up with this, but it's not the solution. I think it's completely the wrong approach.
You said it better than me.